Defend, escape, control, submit, super seminar part 4, you guys. Submit. Submissions. Most of you skip straight to this one. Be honest.
Be honest.
Submit. They already clicked on it before they clicked on defend, escape, or control.
Oh, I thought you meant when they're actually
listen,
rolling.
if you clicked on this video first, you already failed the test.
I thought you meant in sparring. They just skipped to submissions.
No, I mean on the YouTube watchers right now.
Yes.
Submission viewers are higher than the other videos because you guys clicked straight through this and you didn't watch the other one.
Let us tell you one thing right now.
You already messed up.
Your chances of submitting somebody, okay?
Without watching those first 3 videos.
Without watching those first 3,
4.
It's not the same, okay? So, if you fight somebody, if you are grappling somebody, if you're in a street fight, MMA fight, tournament, grappling in the academy, in the school, and that person attacks you for 2-3 minutes and they cannot submit you, that's great. And then they're controlling you. They can't control you. You escape their control.
Well,
amazing.
Well, you escaped their control because they got frustrated. They couldn't
Correct.
submit you. They gave you the escape. You accepted the escape.
Correct. So
Beautiful escape.
They couldn't submit you. They couldn't hold you down. And they were unable to escape your control. You were able to control them.
Closed, open, and dynamic.
You just beat that person 3 times.
Yeah, that's true.
You have defeated them 3 times. Now,
at this point, the submission is almost
at
necessary.
this point, you don't need to submit them. But let me tell you one thing. They're going to give you a submission. Because how are they feeling? They couldn't submit you. They couldn't keep you down. And now that you're on top, they can't get out. Your control is too good. They're going to do what? They're going to make a mistake. They're going to behave.
Well, it's just the natural progression. Yeah.
It's the natural progression.
They've already tapped 3 times.
Yes.
Momentum dictates that they will tap a 4th.
Yes.
And this will be the actual physical tap, which is part 4 here.
Especially if when you're controlling, you're fully present. And what are they going to do?
Yes.
I'm on top. I'm controlling the side mount. Okay, and from down here, you're mad.
Yes,
You're disappointed. You expect more from yourself. So when he gives one last try, now I'm under his arm. Now, is this the submission? Not yet, but it is 20%. Now, as he continues to push my leg right here, boom, I can isolate his arm. Oh, go to here. Go for a kimura. I can control this and spin and get under his elbow easily because he's not focused on keeping his elbow tight, how Rener mentioned in defense.
Yeah, they're going to give it to you.
So much. They're going to give you so much.
So I think what you're saying is that if you follow videos 1, 2, and 3, if you follow part 1, 2, 3, defend, escape, control, you will be able to do the easiest of the 3 submission options we're going to discuss today, which is accept the submission.
You will accept their mistake.
It'll be given to you. It'll be given to you guys one way or another.
And to be clear, you're not doing steps 1, 2, and 3 so you can have a submission.
Right.
You're doing steps 1, 2, and 3 to the fullest just because you want to survive. You defend because you want to defend. You escape because you want to escape a position of inferiority where they can attack you. It's continuing to defend and survive. You control somebody to keep yourself out of harm's way. And then while you're controlling, when they make a mistake, you accept it because sometimes if you ignore the mistake, it can result in you losing control. You can twist and turn so much. For example, roll this way one time. From the mount. He can do such a big bench press and extension, freeze, that if I ignore this arm lock, I end up losing the mount. So oftentimes you have to take the submission to secure your
maintain some
safety.
control. To control.
Your control and your safety and just keep yourself.
And those are what you consider the accepting
and
ones.
Survive. That's the accepting.
You take it. Yeah, he's giving it to you.
And those are the most likely if you give it some time. Now, if you mount somebody and within the first second or 2 seconds of being there, you say, you know what, I have to tap this person out. You didn't quite give them time to make a mistake. And that's okay. Sometimes you do want to create. Sometimes I mount on Rener, or side mount on Rener, for example, and he is not overreacting. He might have lost all 3 battles before, and now I side mount him, and he is taking what? He's defending. He's taking the role of defense. So now it's up to me to create some sort of an overreaction from him. So the side mount, for example,
I need to be in the side mount. Maybe I start to bug his neck right here, put my thumb in the collar, right? I need to start to attack. I can go to knee on belly, and now, boom. Now I'm under his arm. Now I'm under his arm.
So attacking the neck, taking his focus off of his heavy elbow, bringing it here, and then going back under the arm. So creating, and then once again, accepting the mistake that you made.
In your creation.
Mm-hmm. In my
And what was this
creation.
very similar to? Escapes. Remember? There are the escapes that we accept, and there are escapes that we create. Accepting was just shrimp escape when he gives you the big opening. Creating was establishing your grips, arm control, lat control, faking the guard, and as he moves away from the guard recovery, you get that top shoulder roll. Same is true here. Bug the neck, pry the arm, and as he focuses on those two elements, you can get your underhook for the original attack that you wanted that wasn't quite given to you off of nothing and off of their desperation alone. It's almost like you create a little desperation by putting that fire on my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We have to, I call it creating an overreaction. We need the person to overreact. And when they overreact, we capitalize.
And there are some, like Hidon, who simply don't overreact ever. Ever. On the mat or off. So now you get to the situation where you're here, and the person, I can bug his neck all day, and for some reason his elbow literally remains cemented to the ground right there. Okay, one of the most frustrating experiences of my youth. So I'm trying to get an underhook over here. Look, instead we come over. You can grab the elbow here, okay, with the opposite hand here, and even support it with this one. Look, every single time. Nice underhook. Rotate. Look at this. So we're forcing this. I'm forcing my underhook on this elbow. And the way you do it is the north hand comes over, grabs the sleeve, or if there's no gi, look, you go around, you hook the actual olecranon process of the elbow here. You hook the actual elbow and you pull it. Almost like you're trying to pull his humerus bone into the socket here.
Take the slack out.
You pull it in. And now I keep that real tight. And now literally rotate even more. All we're going to do is take your knees that are close to his body and you launch them straight back, but you keep them off the ground.
There's too much weight over here.
And you get under. Because I'm not doing this. Stay where you are. I'm not doing relax. This. Keep your elbow heavy.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. You guys see that? The whole body is rolling, and the pivot, the point of lift is different than what he expects. This is the pivot point, not this for the lift. Okay. I'm pivoting on here. You don't like this?
You don't need this here.
My spider guard?
You don't need that.
So look, I'm here, I come over, I hook, and then you shoot the leg straight back, and you get his whole body to roll. Now we got our free underhook. We can start to attack right here. Switch, get him on his side. Guillotine. That was all forced. One-handed guillotine here, and we're good to go. So that was a forced underhook when he was perfectly patient, perfectly defensive, perfectly correct mindset. I had to go impose my will and get what I wanted, even though, and again, why would you do that? I don't know. Why would you force? Time limit again. Well, no. You feel pressure to close the deal now?
Don't think it's just more, maybe it's just curiosity, right? Especially, there are ways to force submissions like this, which is very technical and very safe. And there are ways to force submissions that we don't do on each other, which just, we don't have to worry about that too much right now. It's where it could be almost a little bit brute, but it's more forcing where it's just out of curiosity. Now, there's no doubt that when you force like that, it's not as guaranteed as when you accept or when you create.
Yep.
But sometimes, because there's nothing there, and we're training to make each other better, and you know,
it's more out of curiosity and the challenge of can I get an elbow that does not want to come off the ground? Off the ground. It's a brotherly challenge, and you can have that same curiosity with your own training partners. Can I accomplish this even though I know that they know this is exactly what I want? And that's where sometimes a more forceful approach may be necessary when creating or distracting or kind of using other deception and situations to create that impossible.
And before you know it, when you start to force like this out of, you said, a curiosity, before you know it, it might actually become, you might find a way to force it that is less forceful, that is more creative, that becomes something that you do more regularly, that requires less energy. So, exploring and playing like this is what leads to the more, like I said, the more creation type submissions.
Yes.
So don't be against, using a little bit of muscle or a little bit of, to make things happen. And eventually, I'm sure that you'll shave away all the
excess.
And you'll be very fine-tuned. And in some cases, it will become that.
That's what you want to ask yourself, guys. In each position, and we have this. We don't want to give you them in every position, although They exist on gracieuniversity.com, and that's what really the entire curriculum is for. It's for teaching you the defensive measures, right? The early, the mid, and the late defensive measures. The escapes, right? The accepting, the creating, and the forcing escape methods. So the entire curriculum includes all of these elements, and this was just our attempt to, really give you kind of a broad understanding of these principles and concepts in this as brief of a summary as possible. But in terms of submission, what you want to have is you want to have a checklist. So no matter what position you land in, you have all the submissions and behaviors that they can do, which will allow you to accept gifts given to you. So you have all your accepting submissions checklist. And then for those same submissions, when not given to you as a gift on their own mistake, the methods of creating those based on different distractions and setups, right? So the creation variations of each of those submissions. Today we gave you one, which is the underhook to the arm lock, and we showed you how to accept it, how to create it, and how to force it. And then of course having your forced submission situations. For every submission system that you have to have the acceptance, the creation, and the force options. So that no matter what defensive measures they present to you, you can start something, you can mount an attack against that person.
Just to be clear, going forward from this point on, when you think about submissions, when you land in a position, a submission is not the objective, okay? The objective is to hold the position. The objective is to stay safe. The objective is to control. So just be there. Let the majority of your submissions come by way of you accepting their mistake. And that happens when the submission is not on the agenda. Okay, now, like I said, when the person doesn't, which maybe 20% of the time, I feel like I experience people that are very patient. And now that's when we fall into creating and forcing. So trust that people will make mistakes, and you have to just be present enough to accept them.
That's a good point. And your choice of whether it's accept, create, or force is less a factor of what you want. It's more a factor of their state.
Correct.
Meaning if you're trying to get out desperately, I'm going to accept everything you're giving me. If you're patient but still flawed in your positioning, I'm going to create by poking here and getting this. And if you're perfectly defensive, then I have to go force. So remember, these are, in all of these, defend, escape, control, submit, are all a function of their state. But like Hidon said in the last video, their state is determined by your state, you guys. Which goes back to what we've talked about.
So you can make somebody try harder to escape.
By not trying to submit.
By not trying to submit.
By just controlling
and then give you
yes
the opportunity to accept.
Yes. You guys.
So heavy.
There are a few discussions more important in Jiu-Jitsu than the one that we've just had over the last 4 videos, not including the original Defend, Escape, Control, Submit presentation that Hidon gave so perfectly. Watch this now. Put it away. Enjoy your journey. And then rewatch it every 6 months for the rest of your Jiu-Jitsu journey. It's one of those things where 6 months from now, you're going to watch this and take something so different. It took us almost 30 years to have these realizations, even though they've been told to us in different ways our entire lives.
Yeah, so
to summarize and understand it in such a complete fashion has taken us a long time, which means you may not be ready to absorb all of what you just heard. But it doesn't mean that you don't need to and you don't eventually want to absorb all of what you just heard.
And even if you don't absorb all of it, I've already gotten feedback from people 1 day later, they watched the video, 1 day later, they have already applied these steps. And I don't want to call them steps, but these 4 parts in this order, starting with defense especially. And they've seen tremendous results when it comes to their escaping and catching submissions because they're spending more time defending. And they're spending more time controlling. So the 2 things that everybody wants, which is they want to escape right now and they want to submit right now, those 2 things are happening more frequently because they're spending more time, once again, in the defending portion and in the controlling part.
There it is, you guys. Big picture discussions like this, principle-based discussions, are very valuable because it gives you a perspective that you sometimes don't get on the individual technique level. However, the implementation of these principles in real life is sometimes challenging without specific examples, right? So it's kind of like you need one and the other. And every technique in GracieUniversity.com, the complete curriculum, combatives, blue belt strike 1 through 4 and beyond, every technique is taught falls somewhere on the totem pole or in the 4 parts that we've just discussed. So having this filter now and this understanding will allow you to continue to learn and perfect all of those techniques and place them more efficiently in the bigger picture. But you need the principles and you need the techniques.
And you're saying on Gracie University, but every technique everywhere
Can be placed.
it can be taught. It's ever taught everywhere, anywhere. Now, our goal is to teach the ones that we believe you need first, right? And this is where different philosophies and different cultures between schools. Some schools might be spending more time teaching you how to force your way out of the side control, whereas we're more concerned with teaching you how to accept the opportunity that is given to you when somebody attacks. And that's because we learned from who we learned from. Eddie Gracie and my father, Hardon Gracie and Hoist. And these are guys that, they needed for survival. They put it to the test, right? And so many other Gracies that fought with no time limit and no weight classes and street fights that, it's all about the jiu-jitsu that works in most cases. We want what's going to work 80-90% of the time versus the very specific, 5-10% of the time. You will need to know how to force your way out, but we are very careful on when we introduce that. We don't want to introduce that too early in the game, and you need to be aware as to what you're learning and when you're learning it, because you could be learning things that are going to only help you in 5-10% of the cases. And that's just going to prolong the journey, and it's going to also keep you from becoming as complete as you would like to be.
You mentioned one time, you said, spend the first 3 to 4 years of your journey on the first 2 elements in each of these parts. Is that right?
Correct.
So like, for example, on the defense, big and small defenses should be your priority.
Yes.
For the first 3 to 4 years, right? Maybe into purple belt,
Yeah, I mean, imagine the first 4 years, you only work big and small. When it comes to escaping, you only worked accept and create.
When it comes to control, only closed and open.
And then when it comes to submitting, it's accept and create.
Right.
So that could be the first 4 years of your jiu-jitsu.
There you go.
That could be into solid blue belt, maybe purple belt, let's say. And then after that, even then, you only dabble 20%, 30% in the other ones because it's important.
Yeah, down below.
And obviously these numbers can change here or there a little bit, but the important part is that you know what you need. I know what I need when I'm rolling with you or anybody that's dangerous, whether it's a street fight or a grappler. I know what I need. I need big and small defense.
Yes.
I know what I need in terms of escape.
You don't need emergency escapes.
I know what I need.
Right.
I know what I want to use. Yeah. I know what I want to invest in now so that I can use when I need it. So I believe, and you know also. Right?
Yes.
And we know what our students need.
Every opponent, I know what I need.
We're here to give our students all around the world the tools that they need to be ready for the situations that they might find themselves in. So hopefully you can agree with us and say, what they're talking about right now makes sense in terms of the priority as to what to focus on, out of all these different videos and the original video, and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, there it is, you guys. Apply this filter to all of the jiu-jitsu, whether you're learning from us or anyone else, and let us know how it goes. Feedback, implementation, does this shift your effectiveness on the mat? And catch up with us and continue the journey on GracieUniversity.com.